Let's step back for a second. This is part five. We're going to start from the beginning a little differently than we did the other parts of the video. Stanley Kubrick is using chess allegory. He's doing these little things that he hides in each movie as chess moves. Each one in itself is insignificant, but on the whole, they are a message and an allegorical language. So this is Kubrick playing chess with Sterling Hayden, and Kubrick was a very good chess player. And we have the black and white of the board, the Jungian black and white. But this is the message he's sending you. This is each one of these little things that you find in each movie is a chess move. And Frank Poole plays chess with Hal, and there's always chess in every movie that he makes. Let's go into the balls right now, because we are talking about the ball Earth. Here we have the soccer ball. We have the tennis ball Jack is throwing, which is Billie Jean King. We have the white rabbit here. This is Bugs Bunny, a Bugs Bunny doll sitting on this little three-wheeler. The white rabbit, Danny is Doc, Bugs Bunny, the Looney Tunes character, just like the Road Runner is a Looney Tunes character. We also have, I don't think you can see it in this, but this is a Winnie the Pooh doll. Disney does all the animations for the Apollo missions, and also you have Dopey, one of the seven dwarfs, is on a sticker on Danny's door. And when the doctor is done visiting him, the Dopey sticker disappears. So the seven Apollo missions, seven dwarves, Dopey disappears. So, and we have the soccer ball here, the World Cup soccer ball, and the tennis ball. Barry Nelson is made to look like JFK in this. He has his mannerisms with his hands down. He looks like him. His hair has been done like him. This is JFK. This is JFK interviewing Kubrick for the moon fakery. This is Carl Jung. Let's minimize that when I'm ready for that. The balls. Here we have James Mason. We have he's playing ping pong. So in this movie Lolita, Peter Sellers in the end of the movie says, "How about a lovely little game of Roman ping pong?" So remember that statement, because it's going to come back later. We have the one-eyed Jack. We have the magic circle game. We have Danny as Doc. Remember, Apollo is an archer and he's a doctor. He's a medicine man. So Danny is Doc. He's Apollo. He wears the Apollo sweater. He has the Bugs Bunny jersey, 42 jersey on. Bugs Bunny is the white rabbit. We're talking about Lewis Carroll allegory here. Crazy Earl gets killed by the exploding white rabbit. We get the Playboy bunnies and the Playboy magazine and the Playgirl magazine. It's all white bunnies. Here we have the snowball fight. So we got another ball. This is Snowball or 8-Ball. Yeah, I think he's Snowball. This is Snowball from Full Metal Jacket. We have the yellow ball in the writer's mouth, the red ball in his wife's mouth. We have the yellow tennis ball in The Shining movie. We have the red ball in King's book. It's always a ball that's changing color. You have the Clavius moon base, based on the man who created the first Gregorian calendar with leap year. We have one small step for man, one giant leap. The Shining was filmed in a leap year. It was 1980. It was a leap year. Here we have Tim Carey in the middle, and I believe this is Joe Turkel over here. These three men are sacrificed. It was perceived that the men were cowards, so they selected three men essentially randomly, and they murdered them to instill a sense of courage in the men. This is really a representation of the Apollo 1 crew who died in the fire. So we have three men who die in the Apollo 1 fire. Here they are, 1, 2, 3. Tim Carey is the man that's in the movie The Killing. He talks about red lightning, the horse, red lightning, white lightning, moonshine. Sterling Hayden talks about, do you ever wonder why I drink pure grain alcohol? Pure grain alcohol is moonshine. So it's all the same thing. We're talking about the moonshots. These are the Apollo 1 crew that were sacrificed to keep the other men's mouths shut. So Gus Grissom hung a lemon on the Apollo 1 capsule the day he died. And he was a staunch criticizer of the Apollo missions, and they killed him for it to set an example. This is exactly what happens in this movie. They shoot them. And also, if you notice, there's 3 pillars of sandbags here. If you look at the gold room bar, it's like a mirror image of this. You have the three stanchions in the mirror, so it's a little clue that we're talking about the Apollo 1 crew was murdered. This is Stanley Kubrick's first picture he ever sells to Look magazine. It's the day FDR died. This is April 13th is the day he died, which is coincidentally the same day that the Apollo 13 capsule explodes in space, April 13th. Balls, you know, we've got Alex DeLarge with the balls, and we've got the the balls, you know, the celestial alignments of the moon and the earth. We have Alex's counselor comes up and grabs him in the balls. We have this kind of weird sexual thing going on here with Alex. We have the billiards, you know, he talks about, you know, it was all just a big misunderstanding. There's nothing really happening here. But the billiard ball, we got 8 ball and Full Metal Jacket. We get the billiard table, so we get the flat earth here and the billiards. We have the tennis ball. Danny gets rolled the ball, you know, in his Apollo sweater. We have the ball lights, and you know, and also we have the one eye. He always puts the one eyebrow in the one eye, and we have the eyeball on his shirt here. You can't really see it very clearly, but there's an eyeball here. You know, this is the Truman Show. We have the azimuthal equidistant map here with 33 segments on it, hidden right in front of you. We have Thoth. This is Thoth, the god, an Egyptian god who later became known as Saturn and also is known as the Grim Reaper or Death. He always carries a sickle. He's the one that harvests the souls. This is the woman that sacrifices herself for Tom Cruise. Here's the Illuminati. This is this gentleman here in red cloak is Leon Vitali, born the same day Kubrick is born. We have Frank Poole. It's his birthday. His parents send him a pre-recorded videotape wishing him a happy birthday. At the end of the video, his father says, "See you next Wednesday," right here. This is very odd because Frank Poole is halfway to Jupiter, so he's not going to see his father next Wednesday. And actually, he never sees his father because these are pre-recorded videos. So he never actually has a conversation with his father. He gets an indication that there's a pre-recorded video he can listen to. So the "see you next Wednesday" is a really bizarre comment. And it's a Kubrickian breadcrumb, just like CRM 114 is a Kubrickian breadcrumb seen in Back to the Future. We see you next Wednesday in Trading Places with Aaron Russo and Jamie Lee Curtis. And it's in a bunch of other movies too. I think American Werewolf in London has it. The Blues Brothers have it. So it's just a way to connect birthdays, Jungian birthdays, and other movies. So this is Frank's birthday. His parents are saying happy birthday. Vivian Kubrick gets a call from Dr. Floyd on her birthday. She wants a Bush baby and a telephone. There's little clues that we're looking for birthdays. We have the Shoe Shine Boys expose that Kubrick did for Look magazine. We have the Moonshine, Shoe Shine. We all shine on. The Shining, the Shine, shiny, flat, dull, sharp. We have the soccer ball, the tennis ball, the Bugs Bunny doll, and the Disney Winnie the Pooh. Here's Kubrick giving you a soccer ball clue. Scatman with the smoking gun pipe. The movie The Shining is released on Scatman's birthday. This is made a big deal of in the interviews. They talk about, oh yeah, the movie's released on Scatman's birthday. They never tell you why it's released on Scatman's birthday. Well, Scatman dies November 22nd, the day JFK dies, in 1986. So that's very weird. He has a smoking gun in his mouth where the smoke, this fire. We're talking about the Apollo 1 fire, the Danny wants to play with his fire truck and Jack won't let him. We have the Collins fire axe. We have the Burns twins. We have the Overlook Hotel burns down in the book but doesn't in the movie. We have the pack of matches story with Charles Grady tells him, oh, my girls didn't like the Overlook at first. They tried to burn it down with a pack of matches. It's always about fire and smoke and smoking. Wendy chain smokes. Here's Kubrick's movie, The Killing. This is Marie Windsor, queen of B-movies. So we're dealing with card game allegories and chess allegories and Minotaur allegories. So she's the queen of B-movies. I believe she's a redhead, although I haven't confirmed this yet. She's cuckolding her husband. She has a secret lover, and she's smoking, by the way. That's always a clue whenever they're smoking. Here's Kubrick playing Simon Says with Wendy. This never really took place. This is a little clue that we're looking for colors. We have Clockwork Orange. We have Blackjack. We have Woody Strode, the first black football player. Jackie Robinson, the first black baseball player. So we're dealing with colors here. We have the blue marble and the jade rabbit and the jade black, the jade jackrabbit, the one-eyed Jack. Kubrick's Look magazine expose on shoe shine boys. This is a clever picture. This is a clue to Stephen King that there's definitely no king in this movie at all. This whole project, this vehicle, was taken over by Kubrick, and it gives us a clue to kings, queens, jacks, one-eyed jacks, aces, the bomber pilot, the CRM-114 tech in Dr. Strangelove. His name is Ace. Major King Kong is Slim Pickens' name. So we have the kings, the queens, and the jacks. And this is Danny Lloyd. He has his Star Trek phaser again. This is another Star Trek clue. This is Leon Vitali. He plays Red Cloak in Eyes Wide Shut. He's born the same day Kubrick is. Once again, we have another sync with Kubrick, with Huxley and Jung born the same day Kubrick is. This guy's born the same day Kubrick is. This is Vivian Kubrick. She does the making of The Shining. This is Stanley's handmade knitted wicker, woven wicker chair that Wendy would not be allowed to sit in. Kubrick would be in his director's chair. Just the fact that she's in this chair is a clue that there's something weird going on here. And the weird thing is we're looking for Wendy's birthday, which is July 7th. July 7th is the day Anya Kubrick dies. She was murdered. This is the horseshoe again. You know, Wendy's trying to get the radio and the telephone to work. They're out. Just like in the Apollo 1 fire, the radio went out, the telephone went out, and then they were burned to death. So this little horseshoe is part of the Corona, the Minotaur, the Corona Borealis, the Shea Stadium, the Afro, the Colorado flag has the same shape. We have Blackjack the horse, Red Rum the horse, Red Lightning the horse. You know, it's always horses and Minotaurs and Matadors and bull riders. We have the horseshoe again, right near the twins. One is laying with the head to the left, face down. One is laying up with the face up to the right. They're mirrored. These are the Gemini twins. This is Gus Grissom and Ed White. They were previous Gemini alumnus before they got exploded in the Apollo 1 fire. Roger Chaffee was a virgin. He had never really flown in anything, so he's not in this picture. But in this window in the back of this picture, which I don't have in this one, you could see the three reflected lights, which is the three Apollo astronauts. They were killed by the Illuminati. This is a Collins chrome, shiny chrome fire axe, shiny, sharp, dull, flat. You know, it's an allegorical reversal. If you have shiny, you have dull. If you have sharp, you have dull. If you have dull, you have flat. So shiny, flat. It's just a word game. This is Peter Sellers' movie, The Party, where he has an elephant in the room that says the world is flat. Very clever. There's a bunch of clues to flat Earth in this movie. I'm not going to get into them. This is the 1964 World's Fair. You've heard me mention this. It's in Corona, Flushing, Queens, New York. This is the Saturn V rocket engine. This is 1964, and this is the first time we get to see the Apollo hardware. So we see the Apollo CSM, we see the Apollo Moon rover, we see the Apollo LEM, and the problem with this is these spacecraft were not even really designed yet we see mock-ups of them at the World's Fair, the first time we see them. Kubrick attends this fair. He hires Douglas Trumbull, who had projected a moonscape on the inside of a domed building with a fisheye lens. So we have the fisheye projected, moonscapes on dome buildings. It's very clever. Douglas Trumbull does all the special effects for 2001: A Space Odyssey. A very talented man. There's one-point perspective. You know this. This is the ships over the horizon thing. He hammers this home in every movie. This is a very interesting clue here. This is a clue to missing appendages. Like we had the one-eyed Jacks, and we had this gentleman only has one ear. Tycho Brahe, the first man to prove we didn't live on a globe, was a redhead. And he was also missing his nose. He lost his nose in a duel about a math equation. So he's a no-nose man. This is a one-eared man. We have the one-eyed Jack. Barry Lyndon loses his leg. He becomes a one-legged man. The man he works for has one eye. You have John Ford has one eye. You have Andre de Toth has one eye. You've got the moon is a one-eyed Jack. The playing card is a one-eyed Jack. Jack Nicholson, Jack Kennedy, it goes on and on. Jack Ford, John Ford, same thing. Here's Johnny. Johnny is Jack. Jack is Johnny. So this is Marilyn Monroe. The Apollo 12 CSM name was the Yankee Clipper. The Yankee Clipper is Joe DiMaggio's nickname. So we have, in Full Metal Jacket, we have The blue balls, crabs, once again, we have balls, the blue balls, crabs, and the 7-year itch. This is a statement that's uttered by Lee Ermey as they're marching. The 7-year itch is a movie that Marilyn Monroe did. Marilyn Monroe is Queen of the Artichoke. She won Queen of the Artichoke for California, so she's a queen. Just like, once again, we're doing card game allegory. So we have Joe DiMaggio, the Yankee Clipper, blue balls, crabs, and the 7-year itch. This is her movie. You know, she's banging JFK and RFK. She was doing them both. She was a very crazy lady that she got that close to that much power and paid the price. Marilyn also talked to Dorothy Kilgallen about the Roswell crash right before she died. Here's the bull, minotaur, cyclops, Hal. This is a fisheye lens we're looking at. It's a reflection from a fisheye lens, so it's very clever. We have the cyclops eye. We have the minotaur bull, half man, half bull. So it's a combination of the minotaur, but it only has one eye, just like the azimuthal equidistant map has one bullseye. Danny plays darts in The Shining with the bullseye. This is Shelley Duvall. She says, "This whole place is such an enormous maze, I feel like I got to leave a trail of breadcrumbs everywhere I go." This is a clue to, once again, Kubrick talks about he read all the fairy tales. So this is Hansel and Gretel, a Grimm Brothers fairy tale about, you know, they travel through the woods, they put the breadcrumbs down, but the animals eat the breadcrumbs, and they go to the wicked witches. The wolf is at the, you know, and then they're about to be eaten and cooked in the stove. Once again, it's another cannibalism clue that we're looking at cannibalism. And a trail of breadcrumbs. That's what we're looking at here, a trail of breadcrumbs. You know, here she is with the Lincoln book. Lincoln died April 15th, Jackie Robinson Day. So that's interesting. Here we are again. She's in her convertible Mercury Lincoln, and she's got the Lincoln picture. She knew Kennedy was going to die. And she's giving you the Kubrickian stare. She's not smiling in this picture. She's looking at like, you idiot. Kennedy was murdered in broad daylight. What are you going to do about it? Here's Crazy Earl, the guy that picks up the white rabbit that explodes. This is the Lewis Carroll white rabbit, rabbit holes. Lewis Carroll through the looking glass, Jabberwocky. And in this shot, he has a Winchester lever action rifle. Okay, nobody had a Winchester lever action rifle in Vietnam. And he says in the scene, I'll play General Custer. Well, General Custer, turns out, was born, I believe, on July 16th. Custer, no, I'm wrong. He's born. He died June 25th, the day that George Orwell dies. So that's interesting. So he wants to be Custard. He gets blown up by the exploding white rabbit. This is a great clue that we're using front screen projection here. If you look at the leopard's, I think it's a leopard, his eyes, you can see the projected background, which is this area here, being reflected off his irises. This is actually a horse that has been painted to look like a zebra, because they didn't have a zebra. This is the same horse you saw earlier. I think it was fossilized when Moonwatcher was beating the dead horse. Here we have the balloons, the balls. This is a clue to when we put a camera on a balloon and it goes all the way up, it shows us the Earth is flat. And if you notice, there's a big flat balloon right in the middle of here. There's a flat one. The secret masked ball. We're talking about balls here. So he's at the masked ball, and he's playing this requiem backwards. This was another clue to reversing things and palindromes. Red Room is a palindrome. You know, it spells murder backwards. The Lincoln killing and the Kennedy killings are palindromes. 9/11 and the Titanic disaster are palindromes. Here's Carl Jung, born the same day Kubrick is. He talks about the Jungian psyche, where you have the light and dark side. He talks about Jungian archetypes, which I'm going to get into the next video, not this video. But here's Carl Jung. And he lived in Alamogordo, New Mexico, and he believes flying saucers are real. And that's it for this video. The next one, but anyway, I hope I covered enough balls in this anyway.